Time now for the Bercich Breakdown, which means we are talking to Vikings audio analyst Pete Bercich. Vikings are in a situation, Pete, where they have not scored a touchdown in their last 5 quarters plus, which is the first time they have had this kind of drought since 1991. How do they get into the end zone this week against Washington?
Well, special team. Well, you're talking offensive touchdowns. The Washington's offense is good. They're not quite like Seattle was a week ago. I don't think they're that strong. I think the challenge is going to be just keeping that Seattle defense on the field.
You mean the Washington defense?
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Washington defense, keeping them on the field. Deron Payne, Eddie Goldman, Javon Kinlaw. Bobby Wagner is a little bit nicked up. He didn't practice because of a knee, but keeping that front on the field as long as you can. So, running the football is going to be important. Keep wearing on them. And I think by the end of the game, some of the 3 to 4 yard runs will end up being bigger runs. So, I know I sound like a broken record, but I think running the football is important. It's a 4-3 front for the most part. So we should be, I like our odds against that or with that. So, again, it takes pressure off the quarterback. He can, play action and bootleg and all those things off of it. So I think our ability to run the football is going to be the biggest thing on Sunday afternoon is to getting points on the board and sticking with it too, by the way.
Right. That does seem the thing, that they start with it and then they seem to abandon it as the game moves on. Now, again, offensive line, you lost 3 in that game. Sounds like 2 for sure will be back. Darisaw seems to be coming along nicely this week, should be back. The other 2 questionable, although Kelly seems to be coming along well as he's been limited in practice this week. How can they build some sustainability to that running game? Is it going with C.J. Ham and bringing in more tight ends? I mean, can that possibly help them sustain a running game?
Well, I have to go back to the Cleveland game when we were in London with just, having 3 backups, I believe, on the offensive line for that game.
Right.
We came out and ran some traps and did some different things. But we haven't really built an identity in the running game so far this year, and that's kind of like leads to your question. It's just, who's the extra blocker? Is it going to be C.J. Ham? Are we going to use Josh Oliver more? A lot of questions. What personnel group do we like to run the football out of? Can we run it out of 3 wide? So that's the problem you have when you're getting 40 some snaps a game. You're behind most of the time, and you're having to throw the football. You just don't have an identity in the running game. So I think that's a great question: is how exactly are the Vikings going to go about doing it? I think that's yet to be seen. There's nothing that stands out to me right now to say, okay, this is the type of run or this is the running game that we need to employ. It's just too much all over the place right now. So they got to settle in on a couple of things and stick with them.
All right. J.J. McCarthy appears to be on track to be your starting quarterback on Sunday. Coach Kevin O'Connell said on Wednesday that he's not worried about fundamentals. He was asked, what kind of progress he wants to see. And he's the one that's been bringing up fundamentals every time the media have asked the questions. But he said he's not worried about that this week. He just wants JJ to try to play with a clear head, make clear decisions, and take what's there. What do you take from that answer from the head coach?
It's just I think a shift in philosophy, right? I guess with you should have the ability to do both, right? To focus on the game plan, to focus on the X's and O's and the execution, and at the same time, pay attention to fundamentals. It's just a matter of what's primary, right? What's the
Right.
primary? And I think if Kevin O'Connell has been talking to JJ and asking him questions about the process in the game, and he's talking about fundamentals, he might be thinking a little bit too much about it, right? So just change your focus from the fundamental side of things. And really, with football and fundamentals, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to focus on fundamentals when you're out there playing the game, because when you're playing the game, you're thinking about what the opponent's doing. You're not thinking about your feet. You're not thinking about your pad level. You're not thinking about a number of different things. So it's not like you're a pitcher in baseball, right, where you can concentrate and pay mental attention to keeping your elbow up or whatever it is that you're trying to do. So the fact that mental real estate is being taken up in a game, assuming that's the case, just those are the things that you talk about in practice when you're watching film. That parlays into what drills that you're running at the quarterback position. So I think it's just more to free up his mind, maybe to just forget about and not worry about the footwork and those kinds of things, because the poor fundamentals will eventually get you into trouble, but you got to be able to make the right decisions first. So I think the primary emphasis is just switching on that. That's my best guess at that reaction.
So you think maybe he's looking back at that fourth quarter against Chicago where JJ was just playing the game and he said, quote unquote, 9 came out. Maybe that's what they're looking to tap into here, just that he's playing the game and not concerned about, oh, gee, wait, this foot goes here before I release the ball.
You're playing the most difficult position in professional sports, right?
Absolutely.
And so, if you can free up and just, he's been playing quarterback since he was a kid. So just kind of go out there and do what you've done your entire life. It's just, again, just the process, the X's and O's, the plays, the execution. Let's worry about that. And then we'll make that the priority right now. And, for Kevin O'Connell, he's been a rookie. He's been a young quarterback, but I don't know if he's ever coached one, so to speak, right?
Yeah, that's
he's
true.
had to really develop one. So there might be a little bit of a learning process on his side too. And, he's definitely open with the process and what he's doing. And so we get to see, it's kind of a unique insight. Most head coaches, I don't think would step up and say that and be honest about it. So, it's that ebb and flow that they're going through right now, and we'll see.
Now, last week I quizzed you about, are you worried about players quitting or some dissension? But you watched what that Viking defense did last week against Seattle and how they went after Sam Darnold. And that's the focus of your Eye in the Sky. That's the video that will follow this one on YouTube, or you could go right to Pete's page. It's called Eye in the Sky, Pete Bercich. Google that. You'll find all his video breakdowns. And this week it's Dallas Turner. But before we get into Dallas, I want to get into how that defense played, because that was passion, that was commitment, and that was so entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I mean, they Jackson Smith and Jigba in each of his 11 games this season prior to ours had 75 yards per game or more. And we held him to 24. Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold did not look good. His numbers weren't great. He was right at 100 yards passing. So the Seahawks won that game, but they can't come away from it. I don't think they can come away from that game excited about what their offense did. And then concerns about keeping the quarterback upright. And that Washington is seeing that exact film, and they're thinking, okay, we got Mariota or Jaden Daniels. The physicality with that position may just slow him down for wanting to get Jaden Daniels back, right? I mean, it's like, is this a good week to have your guy coming off hyperextended elbow or a dislocated elbow when he could be on the ground quite a bit. So yeah, that the defense they played so well. Energy, turnover, finally got sack, couple forced fumbles. Yeah, that group is playing well, and hopefully they can sustain that throughout the rest of this season.
And Dallas Turner, so much was made about his first year that he really didn't do what was expected, being a first-round pick that you actually traded up to get. But he didn't have a lot of playing time because Grenard and Van Ginkel were Pro Bowlers. I mean, you're not going to say, hey, you guys can sit over here. But now with Grenard getting nicked up, that's opened a window for him to jump in, and it seems like he has seized on that. What have you seen different in his game this year from last? And that's also what your video is about, but give us a taste of that.
Well, I mean, it's so much of what Brian Flores said during his press conference is that he's doing the little things right, so therefore he's making the bigger plays, and he's improved in every aspect of his game. And I think what you said earlier is exactly right. I mean, Van Ginkel was out for a long stretch of the season. And so that meant Dallas Turner had to be out there. He had to get the snaps week in and week out, substantial number of plays. And because of that and working on the fundamentals, I think the proverbial switch is flipped, right? He is an unbelievably good athlete, fast. I mean, just the quickness, the speed. It's just a matter of getting him to recognize things more quickly, because what he's keying and what he's having to do on a day-to-day basis is so much different than what he had to do at Alabama. It's completely different. He was a hand in the dirt guy. He wasn't even out there all 3 downs. And now he's out there all the time. He's involved in pass rush games. He's rushing the passer. He's playing the run. He's dropping. He's covering. So there's the catalog of what he has to read and understand was opened a ton. And that I just think that week in and week out, being out there on the field and just getting reps has helped him. He's been much more physical against the run, which I think was one of the biggest challenges for him. And then in the passing game, his instincts are starting to show up, which is fantastic. He's not just wasting himself running up the field when he gets a feel for when he's too far upfield. He's working underneath and then has the speed to chase a quarterback down from behind. So that mixture of pure athleticism and then the strength in the pass rush as well, and the timing of his pass rush in his hands and what he's been doing. I think it bodes well for the young man, and hopefully he can maintain this momentum. He's had a sack, I believe, every game for the last 4 games. So it's great to see him, just finally turn the corner and finally show up in the stat section. And I'm enjoying watching him play.
All right, flip it back to the offense. J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson. The connection hasn't been there. Last week it was, of course, Max Brosmer in there. But either way, who's ever at quarterback, they haven't been able to get the ball consistently in his hands. How do you try and do that with the line beat up and not really holding up to allow those deeper routes? Can they change things for Jefferson? Can they make him a different type of weapon, or what could they possibly scheme up here?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to reinvent the wheel, but you have to maybe just take a couple opportunities and get him the ball quickly. Slant routes or just read options or those types of plays to get him to break a sweat, get him involved, and get him hit a couple times. So that's turning him into a little bit more of a proverbial possession receiver, a slot receiver, kind of a wiggle guy underneath, that kind of thing. So in that regard, I mean, he is who he is. He's a vertical down the field guy, and you don't want to take that away from him, but you're gonna, I think you're forced to make a sacrifice one way or the other if you want to get him the football, because we need to offensively. We need to. We need his explosiveness and his ability to run after the catch. So Yeah, I think you can kind of tweak what you're doing from a route, from a route standpoint.
Okay.
But you don't want to change his identity completely. And yeah, for JJ, it's he's been with some very good quarterbacks who can get the ball deep, and right now it's just not the case. So something's got to give, and I think they're just trying to find the combination, the routes, the plays, the players, the offensive line. I mean, just all of it. Get that right combo that can maybe produce some points.
All right. Already the pressure is on the team to get the offense straightened out. Now they're going to be playing at home. And that crowd is got to be won over in that first series. You do not need a 3-and-out to start this game. It's almost better.
Right.
You hate to say it. U.S. Bank has been such a great home advantage for the Vikings. This game may almost be better if they were in Washington and not at home, just because of that outside noise pressure that's going to be very vocal on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, the fans are definitely going to have a short fuse in that regard.
Yes.
The one good thing though is McCarthy has been good early in games, right? He's been good on the scripted plays. So hopefully, yeah, I mean, I don't think anything would energize the crowd more than an opening drive and getting down there and getting in the end zone. So after a shutout, any points are good points, right? So,
yes.
Any points are progress. So we've set the bar kind of low in that regard, and hopefully they can bounce back in front of the home fans.
All right, that's Peter Bercich. That's the Bercich Breakdown. Check out Pete this week on Fox 9. He'll be on GameDay Live starting at 9:30 Sunday morning. The game on the audio version through KFan, or you can also stream his broadcast. And then he'll join us again Sunday night, 10:35 on Vikings PostGame Tonight. And do not forget to check out his Eye in the Sky YouTube channel. It'll have a Dallas Turner feature. And then Flipping the Card, is that the name of the last bit of information? From the flip card? Yes.
That all the background you need to know on the game.
That one is awesome because it gives you all the tidbits you need going into watching the game. And it's quick. It's right there. It's boom. And you can meet Aaron Jones's barber. I mean, that's the kind of content you get.
How about that? And he's just, hey, where'd you get that jersey? He's like, well, I'm his barber. I'm like, oh, okay, I got to talk to you. So that was fun. Don't see that happening this Friday, though.
No, you're not going to hang out some barber pole and see who comes strolling in?
Not unless he comes in the studio, no.
All right. Well, still, it was great content. You can watch that one, too, because that one's just posted there as well. All right, Pete, that's enough. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. I mean, enough for me. Not enough from you. People want more from you. It's me they don't want a lot of.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Correct. All right, that's Pete Bercich. That is the Bercich Breakdown. We'll see you next week.